Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the privacy and the security editions. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's go ahead and get into the news, shall we? First, Safari and iOS users. They had a bug where your browsing activity is being leaked in real time. I put this under privacy rather than security. I don't know why. Just it worked in both of them. Basically, there was a bug in a recent update to Safari and iOS. I think it was applicable to all iOS 15 and Safari 15. That what would happen is the cross-domain logins and data would be transferred. So if you're logged into Google on one tab and you went into the another tab which was maliciously calling first Google on the back end, it would still be able to access stuff. Now, if you were to jump from Google to another Google tab, it should be able to detect your pure login transmitting data, but this was a different thing which was a little bit worse, allowing people to harvest a whole lot of data. And so fingerprinting JS, all sorts of other fun stuff. But you can actually, you can get the article and read it for yourself if you prefer. Also in Apple news, Apple wants to implement a verification system for all educational discounts in the United States. And this here is, a lot of companies are doing this, where you used to, if you were a student or something, you'd go to Apple and be like, hey, I want to buy, whatever I want to buy, and I'm a student, and, they may take you at your word. They might be like, hey, can I see your student ID, or type your ID into here? Well, now there is a company that is like a marketplace for university students and faculty called UniDays. And if you go over to UniDays, it's a lot of discounts specifically geared towards college students, and they do a full vetting process, contact the university, verify the student IDs, basically full-fledged data analytics to figure out if you indeed are a student. And now with Apple, the only way to purchase anything of theirs on an academic discount is to go through UniDays. So there we are, guys. Head on over there, and of course, this means that you are giving up a lot of private information to this third-party company, and who in the world knows what they're doing with the rest of it? So that's exciting, almost like the IRS, which we're going to get to in a moment. But first, the Democrats unveil a bill to ban online surveillance advertising. Basically, what this would do, and don't you love that this judge has a very well-protected chin? I mean, that chin is well protected. But anyway, the bill basically prevents targeted ads. The only thing permissible in targeted ads is targeting by a geolocation based on the IP address. So you pull up the IP address says you're pinging off of, Tijuana, and it will show you things contextual to Tijuana, but they cannot harvest any other data about you in any way, shape, or form. That's the nature of the bill. Of course, some people are saying this is amazing. Some people are saying, oh, this is going to end the internet and all sorts of kind of stuff. But have a look at it, make up your own mind. But regardless, this is what they're doing. This is one of the areas where, while I generally tend to align mostly with Republicans in many views and many points, they are total imbecilic morons where it comes to technology and things, because I think this is a good thing, because Facebook and Google and all these guys collecting, harvesting, and surveilling you to sell you ads, it can't be controlled, it can't be stopped, and it's causing too much data abuse and too much data leakage that many people don't even realize. And so while I'm not a huge fan of big government controlling what things can do, I think it's better if we have the ability to tell some of these big companies, no, I don't. Or at the very least, have a very clear option to say, hey, I don't want to participate. And I'm okay with that as well. So you can have a look through the bill yourself and decide. And for you guys that hate me now because I've tipped my hats on my politics, I'll see you later. But anyway, I think most of you guys kind of already knew that. But anyway, Messenger Kids is they have a new internet safety game, mostly teaching kids how to use an instant messenger. This is a a Meta product. So Meta now has some of these games, and the entire idea, it's just like, hey, use these. They're fun, little kid-friendly games. Ooh, look, spaceships rocking through time. Ooh, look at this. We got some emoji game of some form or another. I don't know what in the world you're doing with these. But basically, they're effectively teaching you how to use Facebook products and hand your data on over to Facebook and not think about it. So while they say, of course, these things are to help educationalize your children, the reality is, no, these people are actually coming in here and using this to get you addicted to the products. How do we know? Well, as the article here mentioned, setting aside the question of whether Facebook Meta Messenger is qualified to offer guidance on healthy decisions and internet safety, what the two games are really doing is teaching kids how to use Messenger. Bear with me a second, but the first thing I thought of was the much more well-intentioned and genuine Sesame Street. I don't know anymore, but arguably the first TV show designed to help teach preschoolers. Well, Sesame Street is rightly lauded for having positive impact on kids' learning skills and for its diverse, multicultural casting characters. And vaccinate me, Elmo, I guess. Many have also noted that the show did a great job teaching kids how to watch television, keeping them engaged and entertained through play learning. And he's making the same element, the same argument here, that all this is doing is getting kids addicted to the meta universe of tools, in which case the children will be more acclimated to utilizing Meta products, which is certainly a bad thing, especially since we know how they like to engage in psychological experiments, which are illegal without human review boards and no specific opt-in, which is completely illegal, and everybody at Facebook should be in jail right now for violating human rights standards. But anyway, they pay a lot of politicians, and so they can keep doing toxic things. But of course, Instagram is known as well for being bad, and, TikTok as well, not a Meta product, but all of these things, they can be pretty bad. Well, on to our feature story. The IRS will soon require selfies for online access. So if you happen to do anything with the IRS with an online account, what they are doing is creating a partnership through the crazy and unscrupulous company called ID.me. And ID.me, they want you to send them a copy of your driver's license and some utility bills and do full-fledged selfies and record 360 about you. So basically give them an entire biometrics package, and then they're going to tie up with the IRS to verify who your identity is. And so if you want to sign in with an existing account, you can, you can sign in direct with this, and then everybody will eventually be forced into using ID.me, even if you have an IRS account. All right. So this is the company, by the way, that had some problems way back when people were trying to utilize the ID verifications for unemployment benefits at the beginning of the koofiness. And so what ended up happening is a lot of people were blocked out. A lot of people had some fraudulent review requests, but the company was so backed up they could not actually get people verified, and people were not able to get benefits. Same company, because the government is that bad at doing what they do. Of course, the company itself is providing or requiring way too much information. Sometimes it could be, it does require you send them a copy of your ID. You have to send them other utility bills or whatever else to prove your address or whatever else. And then you have to use a text message or a phone call. They'll have other ways like FIDO securities, NFC enabled stuff, basically a bunch of the IMEI numbers that Rob Braxton's always talking about the company's trying to force you into using. And that's simply the reality. All right. So the fact is that this is such a bad idea. I actually emailed this particular document to my accountant and informed him I will not be doing anything online with the IRS at this point in time. And we should probably all get a hold of all of the various representatives that we have and tell them this is the most ridiculously stupid thing, that I am not choosing to do any business with this company, and I will not under any way, shape, or form allow the IRS to tell me I have to work with a third-party company that I cannot agree to their terms of service and their privacy policies in which to use. But this is yet another example of being forced into a service that we do not actually agree with, that people don't actually read the terms of conditions or the privacy policies, and they just click check and accept because, hey, I got to get my accounts online. This is unscrupulous garbage, and the IRS needs to be completely disbanded. So that's my personal take on that. I hope I wasn't unclear. Well, if you'd like to help support the channel, we do have affiliates. Today we are highlighting Linode, where I have a number of different services hosted on a cloud-based system. I have a private VPN. If I'm traveling out to coffee shops as I'm meandering around, I have a VPN that goes into there. It's not for a privacy as much as it is for a making sure I get a good secure connection. And then I can manage my VPN on the back end, block it with host files, all sorts of other things to make it more private on the server end. But use my affiliate code tlm.li/Linode. You'll get $100, which is good for 60 days of spinning up as many Linodes as you like to play around with these services. With that, let's have a look at some security news. So first up in security, Microsoft is warning of a destructive disk wiper targeting Ukraine. This, guys, is the event. If Russia unleashes a disk wiper in Ukraine, we're not going to do anything. Anything more of that, we're going to invade. I mean, come on. You guys not see the blithering fools discussion today? If they do anything major, we're going to let them know. We're going to send them a strongly worded letter. Mr. President, it's time for your ice cream. Yeah, that was about the extent of that. But anyway, there is a disk wiper that's going around. Microsoft is warning about it, and they're giving people information in Russian, Polish, and what's this last one? Ukrainian. So you have a couple different languages there instructing you that, yeah, everything's about to be wiped out. Only in this case here, it's they're trying to extract money, but there's actually no way to decrypt. So it just wipes your disk. You get it? You get your disk wiped. So hopefully this doesn't make its way around to the United States, but who knows? We'll see what happens. The International Committee of the Red Cross has warned that a sophisticated cyber attack has collected and harvested data on over 500,000 people, and they're sitting here like, please don't release the data, pretty please. This is, of course, an unsecured subcontractor. So this is the arm of the Red Cross that collects information to attempt to reunite missing family members after tragedy. Some tsunami occurs, and the children go into the waves, and they get beached somewhere else, and then, you know, they can collecting all the data on all the people to reunite the loved ones back together. Good goal. Unfortunately, they're using some external contractor for this whole database. The external contractor, you know, they were probably using something like AWS without a password because that's very common. And they were hacked, breached, and 500,000 records were placed into hackers' hands. And then they're like, please don't give our data up. I mean, these people have already suffered enough. So just a warning about that kind of stuff. Yeah. Crypto.com has had a breach, and they responded super fast. So I don't know, if I needed to work with a company with these services, this might be a good one to do because of how quickly they responded. So recording this on the 21st, this is 17th, which is just a couple days ago, and the article came out, you know, a couple days ago. And so I think probably came out maybe the 19th, the article came out. So within 2 days, public is aware 483 Crypto.com users had their accounts breached, and the hackers stole several, you know, it was in the order of millions, I think. All of the coins that were stolen were returned to the customers, so the customers have not lost anything. The company, in response to this, they figured it out very quickly, shut everything down, reset all the 2FA tokens, and then switched their 2FA infrastructure around. So they're doing right things here. This is a really, really good confidence instilling response. Just be aware that if you do have a Crypto.com account and you haven't logged in for a little while, your 2FA keys may need to be reset. So it's really good how quickly these guys responded, though. So that's actually really good. And on to our last article. I know our little marker down there. Where's it at? Whatever. My hand! I lost my hand. Little marker down there says Linux Backdoor. It's actually Windows, Linux, and Mac. So all OSs, all major OSs, I don't know. Nobody bothered to check if it's also susceptible to BSD. But this is a SysJoker Backdoor. It is a brand new 0-day, and the SysJoker itself was described not too long ago. This is one that hangs out in the memory. It sets itself a cron job, and it has a little bit complicated of a structure as to how it gets in there and bypasses malware. So it's going to get an original payload, which does not have any security triggers. This is going to go out to some extra site, pull in the malicious information, execute itself. Part of the execution is to keep itself alive, running a service to keep itself alive. So if it's just shut off or just deleted, it will reinstall itself. And so they have a lot of details here about what it does. Of course, it's collecting a bunch of data, sending a lot of information about the user account, the IP address, machine ID, hardware configuration, all that kind of stuff back to the hackers. So there are some instructions on it, and the detection, there's some detection points, and down here, detection content for Windows. You can go on down and see all these things. Just look for these files if they're in here. Be careful. The persistence is in the registry editor. You can find those, and then here's different commands. In Linux, it's going to create files in .library directory on the machine. And then for persistence, it creates a cron job at system update and reboot. And then there is some cron tab, which is calling in the information. And then same thing for Mac/library/Mac OS services. And then it creates a launch agent under for the Apple. I'm not as familiar with how Apple runs things like crons. But anyway, the article in this and all the articles today are linked in the description of this video. So if you want to have a look at this post for more details, that will be available. You can help support the channel over on Subscribestar. I typed my name in wrong again, or I got banned. I don't know. Switch to Linux. There it is. Typed it wrong. I do that every now and again. I do that. So anyway, you can come on over to Subscribestar, help support the channel on over there. I'll give you access to our supporter streams, and if I'm doing any updates or anything else, that is where I will send those as well. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching this video from SwitchedToLinux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.